welcome to the Movie Zone, starring me and the host, of course, of Dr. Movies. Yes, I'm back. I was away, had some minor flu, kind of sick a little bit, so now I'm back. I promise you I will bring back some movie news that I haven't got to cover. There was a lot of it, but I was sick, so now I'm back, and here to talk about the new movie that just came out today, or last night, Mad Max Fury Road, starring Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. Okay, so if you've never seen Mad Max, I suggest you stop watching this and go watch that movie, and then go watch Mad Max Road Warriors. Then go watch Thunderdome, which is the weakest of the three, but this is basically the fourth one and a reboot in a way. Mad Max this time is played by Tom Hardy, not Mel Gibson, sadly enough, but this is a very different take of it. George Miller King comes back. He's back in the helm, directing this. It's been over like 30 years since the last one, so let's see if it's up. It's good to see it. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. Well, I just saw it, and my reaction to it is like, wow. I felt like back in the 80s. I mean, I wasn't born in the 80s, but yet I felt like watching an old school 80s action movie. This movie had everything. Visually, it feels like it's shot by shot, an 80s style movie. The colors, the tone of the movie, but yet it came out today. And that worked for me. Why? Because you can take that element from the 80s and make it relevant into this time, and it works. So, in this movie, basically what happens is Charlize Theron, her character, Furiosa, who she plays, she has to take basically this truck to across. She's trying to get out of the hellhole she's in. Basically, they're in in a desert. Picture Tatooine from Star Wars, but more darker, dead, dry. Nothing is nothing. No food, no nothing. It makes Luke Skywalker and his planet look rich. This place is like walking on hell on earth, because there's nothing, not even food, not even water. The water's dirty, everything's dead, and there's one place like a utopia that has everything, but it's ruled by this man who's like an evil dictator. In my opinion, he kind of reminded me of Sweet Tooth from the Twisted Metal games. He was cool. He was a really cool bad guy. He had depth to himself, but you understand why he was doing what he was doing, because he had everything, He the one who had grass grow. He the one who had fresh water. And people basically worshipped him and like, oh, give me this, give me that. But yet, he was also a businessman, so he had to do his own thing. So technically in this movie, it just basically Charlize Theron basically trying to get out of there and trying to go the other side of the desert. And the whole movie is basically nothing but cars, motorcycles, and action. Yeah, that's basically it. Just wrap that up for a minute in your head. Picture that. Car, desert, more cars, motorcycles, guns, crazy people in weird costumes, and that's basically it. Yep. It's not stopping in a magical palace. It's not a kingdom they gotta go find. It's just them in a desert, and Mad Max is basically there as well. And he's got to find his way just to survive, basically. He meets up Charlize Theron's character, and then they team up to try to take out the crazy ones, basically, who's trying to kill her for what she has taken from him, his property, basically. She's taken something from the bad guy's property that he wants back, and it's basically it's like, picture Wacky Races, that Cartoon Network old TV show, where they're just driving the whole show is them driving, but with explosions, and it's crazy. The way that they rigged the cars from spikes having them, machine guns on top of the cars. It felt like watching Twisted Metal live action, except in the game Twisted Metal, it's just cars shooting, guns in the middle of it. And this, it feels like that, but it has people getting out of the car, doing what they got to do to rig the other person's car, to destroy that, sabotage this, sabotage that. the movie was all over the place, and what I liked about it was, I really liked the way that the action was held. It didn't feel too, too over the top. It showed some CGI, but yet you can tell it was more practical than green screen, but which I liked because that's, to me, it makes it more realistic in a way. Another strong point in this movie where I like Charlize Theron's character a lot because you know how in some other movies she's the sidekick or the badass chick in the movie, and the main star, he's the badass and he does everything. He's the hero that you root for. And in this movie, she basically is the star of this movie. Tom Hardy is basically, in my opinion, second to her. That's right, I said it. Yep, pretty much. She kicked ass. She basically was a leader to some people who wanted to follow her to try to get out of that hellhole. Yeah, she basically did everything. Tom Hardy even let her lead. It was that awesome how she was just complete in control of her own thing. Not always have to be following the hero. Nope, she was basically the hero, and Tom Hardy basically followed her. So I really liked that a lot. I really did. Because, it shows that, women characters can also be strong in the lead movie. So, yeah, that's a thumbs up for me. But there are some moments in this movie I didn't like. For instance, this movie was more action than story. Meaning that if you never seen the other, the Mad Max movies, you probably get confused just by a little bit. I mean, you really don't have to watch the other ones to understand this one. It just basically takes place in the desert and just they do their thing. If you go into them, you've never seen the other ones, you probably won't even notice there were other movies about this. You probably think this is a new trilogy, new movie coming out, this is the first one. Okay, I want to see it. But if you've seen the other ones, to know what this is basically takes a couple of years after World War. And, that kind of just took me out a little bit, because then I had to remember, I haven't seen the Road Warriors in like a long time. So when I went into it, it kind of took me off a little bit. But then as the movie kept going, I was like, okay, I get that. But, I wish they did a little bit more backstory from what the originals one were. Showing some a little bit of background, Mad Max's background, just by a little bit. But, you really don't see that in here. But, you know what? It's alright, I guess. But if you're just a fan who just wants to see a great action movie, you might like it. But if you've seen the other movies, you might just wonder, okay, why isn't this, and that? I think it tries to separate the other movies, but still keep the element from, the other three. Because a lot of people haven't seen, the original Mad Max trilogy in a long time. The last one came out 30 years ago. So this is like a brand new thing. So, does it hold up? Yeah, I think it does. Because it had a lot of great action. Great leading role. Tom Hardy was awesome in this movie. Even though, in my opinion, he was still second to Charlene. But, yeah, he was good in this movie for what he was. I really wish he talked more, though. I mean, in the movie, there was some more other negativity I have. He was just there. He was just kind of silent in some moments of the movie. But you know what? He did what he did with guns. So, that makes up for that. But I kind of wish he kind of talked some more. He was just there. He talked a couple of times, but that's pretty much it. Basically, Charlene Theron just like, listen, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, let's go. And he just goes, just says, yeah, pretty much, okay, I'll follow your lead. And then that's basically it. The villain had a backstory a little bit of why he was going after her in the first place, because she took his property, and it's basically a game of chicken in a way, without them crashing into each other. Basically, it's basically one big chase. So I really thought this movie was good a lot. Not as quite as good as I hoped it could be, but it had its moments where it was kind of nitpicking at certain points where it's kind of slow at some points. But when it picks up, it hits you with action, basically. Then the action just stops. But then the action is still there, but it's slowly there. But, it still worked for me. I really like this movie a lot. I highly recommend seeing it. I think it's a good movie, especially for the summer. Now it's basically the summer basically kicked off with this movie. I know Avengers kind of started it all, but that was in April. We're in May. This is basically the beginning of summer for movies. So, I really like this movie a lot. I recommend it. You should go see it. For me, I'm going to give this score from 1 out of 10. I'm going to give it an 8. It's a very good movie. I really liked it a lot. And I hope you can enjoy it too, because if you haven't seen the other ones, don't worry about it. Just go watch this one. If you're interested in the other movies, you can go on Netflix or something, or rent it somewhere, Redbox or something. But yeah, go watch those movies too. Those movies are awesome, especially Road Warrior, which is the best one out of all three of them. But yeah, I like this one better than 3. That makes it up. Yeah. Because 3, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, it was the weakest of the 3. But if Mad Max Fury Road came out that year, and Thunderdome was number 3, basically was number 4, then maybe it would have been different. But honestly, I think it basically just redeemed itself. George Miller had to redeem himself for making this movie, because he probably knew that a lot of people didn't like the third one. So he's like, you know what? Maybe I'll make another one 30 years later, but great job. So I'm giving it an 8. I really liked it a lot. I hope you do. Comment below. Let me know. Did you see this movie? Are you going to see this movie? Are you even interested? Did you see the other movies? Let me know. Let's talk about it. And as always, the doctor's in and out. And thank you, and have a good day.